What's up, guys, and thank you so much for tuning into the channel. If you haven't seen the first, well, if you haven't seen the shop yet, it's small but mighty. Check out the link here showing us putting it together. We're still not officially moved in yet. We're waiting until the 94 Cobra project is done, and if you haven't seen the recent update on that, I'll put a link at the end of this video and in the description below in order for you to see the updates on that, because it's turned out really good. We have completed the first job at Streetcar Shenanigans HQ, which was a clutch on Trish's ST, which went well. We ran into a couple issues, as always with all projects, but it's on the road, it's doing well. Now I want to bring you the second truck. It's not even a car. I want to bring you the second truck that we're doing here, and I'm hesitant to bring you this video because I have already been working on it for, I don't know, it's been here for like a week, 10 days. Hey, Tom. You can see the truck here. It's actually in immaculate condition. It's got 35,000 miles on it. It's in excellent shape. Now, a local shop down the street who my good friend works for actually put a motor in this thing, and then they ran out of options on why it still ran like garbage. Now, we built Ben's Lightning, as you've seen on the channel, so we have been depicted the local expert on the 5.4 supercharged engine, I guess. But if you look in our background, obviously we're kind of moving on to modulars more than we expected. This truck came to us to try to fix the problems that it has. Now, previously, it had a lower pulley on it. I've come to find out that it had a chip in the computer because I looked at the computer blaming that, but it had a lower pulley. And he bought this truck, and like a week later he blew it up, and that's when the other shop put a motor in it off of eBay, just a long block, and then it still had kind of the same problems it had prior to it blowing up. So instead of blowing it up again, he decided to bring it here. The problem that it has at about 3,000 RPM in second gear is when you really feel it prevalent, it falls on its face. We couldn't figure out what was causing it. It felt like a misfire, a two-step, but it wasn't as hard as like a two-step would be. Like, it was actually cutting spark, and it wasn't quite dead enough to say that it had no fuel. So, but it felt lean. So we weren't really sure what to do with it. So our first thing that we did was checked all the gap on the spark plugs. Now, the spark plugs were Motorcraft, the standard spec that should be in the truck. They were gapped pretty big. They were gapped to spec, but however, we run them a little bit tighter, being that it's blown. So we gapped them down to 35, thinking that maybe it's just spark blowout. We put a Ford IDS system on it. Didn't really give us any alerts other than cylinder 1, 3, and 4 would shut off when it was getting into its tizzy, we'll reference it as. So around 3,000 RPM, it would kind of fall on its face and do weird shit, and then it would be misfiring until it cleaned back up and then smoothed out. So we were kind of at a loss. Once we put spark plugs in it, it didn't make a difference. These are known for coil pack issues, so this is where we started shotgunning parts. We're like, well, let's throw a set of coil packs at it. So we threw a set of coil packs at it and didn't change a thing. So now we're kind of licking salt on our wounds. We still had the truck, it wasn't fixed. Then we got an innovative wideband from ASSC, I should say from Midwest Hobby Haulers, John. Thank you so much, John Galway, for helping us out. And he let me borrow his innovative remote wideband. We put it in one of the rear O2 sensors on the passenger side bank, and at wide open throttle, it was mint. It was 11.7, 11.8, 12.0 a little bit. It was about as high as we saw, but that was nice. Then when we got it into the struggle area, about 3,000 RPM, held it there for just a second and then let it out, then it would go really fat, like 8.8, 8.9, 9.0, and the truck would struggle until it finally got back up to 14.7. Now we switched the wideband to the driver's side, and that was the exact opposite story. It would spike up, it would start to richen up, it would go into open loop and start to richen up about 12.3, 12.4 is as rich as we would see it, and then all of a sudden it would just climb right back up to 15. And then when you got on the brake after it was misfiring and chugging, then it would like slowly climb to 16, 17 to 1, and it was just, the other side was overcompensating for it and it wasn't fixing anything. So we didn't have any idea what it was, but it was something that the computer didn't know was going on. Which leads us to today. I was driving home and I'm like, what the fuck could it be that the computer doesn't know that's causing one bank to go extremely lean under heavy load and cause miscellaneous misfires on the other side? So before throwing a PCM at it or blaming an injector driver or some kind of pin out on the connector, I said I'm gonna just drop the exhaust system off the headers. So what I decided to do was unbolt them and just let it hang there. They're hanging about 1 inch down. We're gonna get it back on the lift because now I'm gonna pull the exhaust off. But they're hanging about 1 inch down from the header. The O2 is still plugged in. It still runs just fine. It's noisy as hell, but it runs really good now. So we're blaming the exhaust. We have found the solution, right, Tom?
That's right.
That's right.
Fucking exhaust.
Fucking exhaust. It's got bad cats. Maybe when it nuked, it puked a bunch of shit into one side. We don't really know. We haven't had it off yet. But we're gonna go drive it again. We'll take you guys along for this noisy ass ride. But it would barely get out of its own way. I just took it for a test drive and stabbed it in first and it just smoked the tires off of it, which is more like this F-150 should be. So stay tuned. Let's go for a ride right now. All right, here we are in the F-150. Listen to this baby purr with no exhaust. She's a little tractor-like. We got low fuel. Check engine light did pop on when I was driving it back from my test drive. I already scanned it, and it's just an O2 sensor. Oh, it smells like raw exhaust. That's a good start. We've even put a fuel filter in it. We put fresh premium fuel in it, thinking that maybe it just had old gas. We're not sure how long it sat. And we're gonna go this way. I'm sure our neighbors love us. Like that right there was more torque than it's made since we've been driving this. Doesn't look like it, but she's a beast. She's back. We'll try to replicate the issue it had before. It pulls right through. I feel at 3,000 the converter's starting to tighten up, so that's maybe where it was running into its issue before, why it was at 3,000, because I could still feel it kind of lug down. However, it's not falling on its face, it's just trying to accelerate harder. So if I don't lock it into two-wheel drive, or I mean into second gear, kind of get a better idea of how she runs. I'm sure the semi-truck driver's sleeping.
Yeah, be alright.
We're just gonna stop right next to him and just wrap. It's noisy and annoying, but it's running, so it can only be half as bad. But this would have not happened before. Typical, the battery died right when I was trying to make a point or doing something cool. Always happens that way. It warned me, but I took it for a ride anyway. Anyway, we're back in the shop. Truck is here. The exhaust is hanging off of it. I gotta bring a Sawzall. I'm just gonna cut it off, seeing as the new pieces come so you can piece it back together anyway. But hopefully in the next week or so, you guys will see this truck and the next video, and we will have the new exhaust. We'll do an exhaust note video, and that will be wrapping up. I don't know if it'll be the same video or together. We will find out. But we'll see you guys in the next update for the Harley F-150.